Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin' Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly comic book review. That's right, everybody. Welcome to the weekly comic book review. It's the show where I read a lot of comic books, and I'll let you know what I thought about them. And we always start with the pick of the week. This week's pick of the week should be no surprise to anybody that follows this channel. It's The Green Lantern #1 by Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp. I loved this book. I thought it was amazing. You guys know I'm a huge Grant Morrison fan. I love and respect this cat's work so much. I'm a big fan of Liam Sharp, especially his recent work over at Wonder Woman with Greg Rucka and his own Brave and the Bold series that he did. Great, textured, highly detailed artwork. That's what you're going to get here in this Green Lantern, and you're going to get what you expect from Grant Morrison, a very imaginative story. Grant Morrison coming back to DC Monthly Comics. I've been waiting for this ever since he left to go over and do heavy metal. Haven't been the biggest fan of all that stuff, but really excited to see him back over at DC. I think Grant Morrison just shines at DC. Green Lantern is definitely one of the characters that's just made for Grant Morrison. He wants to have a new approach to this. He wants to respect everything that came before, but he basically wants to strip it down to an intergalactic lawman. He's a police officer in space. He's also got this ring that's basically a magic wishing ring, and Grant Morrison, you know, is going to have a lot of fun with that. Lots of imagination, lots of ideas, lots of cool setup in here, and Liam Sharp's artwork is super sharp. It's clean, it's beautiful, I love it. It's luscious. I'll show you a little bit. Also some really nice layouts and composition from Sharp, for real. Definitely doing some great work. Loved his work over at Greg Rucka's Wonder Woman. Loved his work on Brave and the Bold. Once again, same type stuff, highly detailed, highly textured, rich, luscious artwork, mixed with Grant Morrison's crazy imaginative type style. Very fun. He's got the character of Hal Jordan nailed. Hal Jordan's actually, to me, almost an afterthought in this issue, but he is the Green Lantern. It's fun. I really like it. The little bit you do get of Hal Jordan, it's the essence of Hal Jordan. That's what Grant Morrison does so well. He takes these characters, he boils them down to their most mythological, most important essence, right? And it just shines right through. I love this book. I love the setup. I'm really excited about what's going to be coming. The Green Lantern is out this week. People are going to be really stoked for that. Grant Morrison back at DC. Liam Sharp teaming up. This feels like classic 2000 AD type stuff. So fans of old school British invasion 2000 AD type stuff, you're really going to like this book. It's a return to form. It's just a return to greatness. I loved it. I loved it so much. Green Lantern pick of the week. Justice League is also out this week with issue number 11, continuing the Drowned Earth story. This issue is written by Scott Snyder, and it's got beautiful, elegant artwork by Francis Manapul, luscious coloring, a little bit different in the coloring. It seems a little bit more muted than what I'm used to from Manapul's artwork, but I do like it. It fits the tone of the story. This has been fun. It turns out that everything that's come before from the Aquaman and the Drowned Earth special, it's all important. It's all relevant to what's going on in the story. This does feel a little disjointed, the whole thing, because you got different writers, you got different artists, you got different styles kind of clashing in one another on this Drowned Earth story. I thought that the Witching Hours was definitely handled a lot better. Of course, that was under James Tynion's hand the entire time. But this is still fun, really cool stuff. Definitely spotlighting Aquaman, Black Mana. His stakes are being raised right now. Really fun stuff. If you're liking what Snyder's doing with the Legion of Doom, with Justice League, you're going to love this. It's really fun. And as an Aquaman fan, very important things are happening. Some of the redefining that's about to take place with Aquaman, setting it up, gearing it more in line with the movie, that's about to happen here. Really like the story. It's big. It's epic. It's what Scott Snyder promised on Justice League, and they're delivering it. Loving it right now. Justice League is out this week. Also, Batman, number 58. This is an exceptional issue. I loved it so much. I think Tom King, ever since issue 50, has just soared on this book. Fantastic stuff. Every little bit that's been going on since the wedding issue, right? And every little bit since Tom King started. It's all coming together right now. It really is. This is basically a Penguin story, but it's fun, elegantly written, with a nice script, with a brilliant, beautiful dialogue. Seriously, Tom King is just one of the best dialogue writers in comic books right now. Michael Janin's artwork is great. It's sad. It's exactly what it needs to be to carry the tone of the story. Really fun stuff. Penguin versus Batman, but with a whole lot of different threads from everything that Tom King's been setting up since he started on Batman. It's all coming to a head right now. Even little stories that you're like, oh, that Mr. Freeze story with Lee Weeks. That was a real fun story, right? But it all matters. It all means something. I loved this issue of Batman. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Adventures of the Super Sons #4 is here, 4 of 12 in this maxi series by writer Peter Tomasi. Really am liking this story. It's fun. Peter Tomasi understands these characters of Robin and Superboy. That's Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne. They work really well together. This whole young version of the Legion of Doom with Rex Luthor or whatever, it's super fun stuff, really intriguing. And like I said, I want to highlight, like I always do with this book, it's super fun. Comic books at times should be fun. They should be exhilarating. They should be adventurous. This book shines in that perspective. In that respective, Carlo Barberi on the art with Matt Santorelli on the inking, Proto Bunker on the coloring, and Rob Lee's letters. Fantastic, really fun, vibrant, boisterous type stuff. Super Sons has been super fun. A Sideways annual is out. I'm going to point this one out to all you Morrison heads out there. Morrison is credited as a guest writer on this. I have given up reading Sideways, so reading through this issue was a little confusing, but you got a lot of Seven Soldier stuff in here, and even that New 52 Superman, which I know a lot of people have a lot of differing opinions on the New 52, including myself. I think some books were great. I think some books and directions were terrible, right? But I love Grant Morrison Superman, so it's cool to see him shine again. That's going to happen in Sideways Annual. So not only do we get Morrison back at Green Lantern on a monthly DC book, we got a Sideways Annual with a tinge of Morrison in there as well. Let's head over to Vertigo in the Sandman universe. The Dreaming #3 is out. The book is still hard for me to follow. I'm loving the artwork. Eva Lee's artwork is so fantastic. I love it. It's what's keeping me into the book. Spurrier's script, it's interesting. The artwork, look at that. It's so fantastic. The script is a little hard to decipher, hard to get into. By the end of each issue, though, I feel like I got the impression and the idea, and I kind of want to continue on. But right now, it's not grabbing me super much. It's not, aside from the artwork, but the story's just a little, I don't know. There's something about this book that is appealing to me and something about this book that I'm just not liking, right? I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but The Dreaming is not working for me, and it's also working for me in a way that when I'm reading the book, I'm not enjoying it so much. And then when I get to the end of the book, I'm like, well, that was pretty decent. I'll check out what's coming, right? I don't know. I think this is definitely one of those ones that's going to be better on the reread. So maybe I should just go ahead right now and start rereading some Dreaming. Border Town #3 is out this week, though, and this one was really fun. I really like this book. Border Town is great. Eric Esquivel doing a fantastic job with the story. Ramon Villalobos, amazing job on the artwork. It's got room to breathe, but it's also very detailed, and it's got nice texture to it as well. Tamara Bonvillain's colors, her colors are amazing. They really highlight the artwork to the next level. Really fun stuff dealing with Mexican folklore. It's got its eye on current modern day politics in America and Mexico and the border wars and things like that. Really fun stuff, a relevant comic book that's fun, but also has a lot to say right there, and the subtext is thinly veiled, but it's not in the way of the story. Border Town is amazing. I'm loving this book 3 issues in. Let's jump over to Marvel. Marvel Knights 20th Anniversary Special. #1 is out this week. So this is a 6-issue series that's kind of curated by Donny Cates, and it's going to have other writers jump in and do issues here and there. It's a 6-issue series. It's going to utilize all the Marvel Knights books. Marvel Knights started 20 years ago when you had Jimmy Palmiotti, Joe Quesada were given a corner of the Marvel Universe. They gave Daredevil to Kevin Smith and David Mack, and then eventually Brian Michael Bendis, and revolutionized that character yet again for a new audience, and I was part of that new audience. Did amazing work on Black Panther with Christopher Priest. It had some missteps with Punisher, but I really kind of like the Spawnisher type vibe right there. I do like that Punisher series by Bernie Wrightson and the Punisher series that came after that with some Pat Lee artwork with Wolverine crossover. Marvel Knights had some really good, important type works. This is like a tribute to that, right? By some of the current up-and-coming writers in the biz right now. So Donny Cates does the opening chapter. It's interesting. It's a mystery. It utilizes all these different characters that have appeared in Marvel Knights book. It's including the Fantastic Four. I really did like it. It's a nice tribute. The story, not quite sure what's going on, but it was engaging. It was exciting. And for fans of the Kevin Smith Daredevil run, there are lots of little moments in there that will harken you back to the day. And that's the point of a book like this. I really did enjoy Marvel Knights #1 with Travel Foreman on the artwork. Amazing artwork. I'm not usually, Foreman's up and down with me as an artist, but this one, especially the first half of this book, shines. Love the artwork, absolutely. Marvel Knights, 20th anniversary #1 out this week. Death of the Inhumans wraps up with the final issue, #5 out this week. From the aforementioned writer Donny Cates, Ariel Olivati, and Jordi Belair on the art team. This book's been weird, right? It's been one of those books where I was angered by incidents that happened in the book, but I also was just like, this is a really good, fun, get everybody to talk about it, slam bang comic book type thing, right? A very satisfying ending, an ending that's very abrupt all of a sudden for something that seems to have such a big impact. It kind of wraps up very, very quickly with no, like, I don't know, it just wraps up very, very quickly. I don't want to spoil too much about it, but I was satisfied with this ending. I thought it was really cool. I think a lot of people that have been following this book will like where it went, and I hope something cool can happen out of what's left from the Inhumans afterwards. But Death of the Inhumans, #5. The final story, the final book, it was a story that got people talking, right? Infinity Wars #5 is the penultimate issue. I'm thankful for that. I got geared up. I got ready for this. I loved what Duggan was doing with Guardians of the Galaxy. Got excited, got built up into Infinity Wars, and it just became amalgam, but just Marvel, right? I don't know. Infinity Wars #5, the weakest issue of the series yet. I'm not digging it. Deodato Jr. had been pumping out some of the best artwork of his career over the last few years with Old Man Logan, and then all the stuff leading up into this. This one, this feels rushed, it feels sloppy, don't like it. The characters come out of nowhere, the story's taking crazy turns, it doesn't make sense. I'm not invested, I'm not cool with it, I don't know. This just feels like a waste, it really, really does. Maybe that's why Marvel didn't have it out when Infinity War was out. Maybe they knew, maybe they weren't ready, I don't know. But right now, guys, I'm not liking Infinity Wars at all. Spider-Geddon #3 is out this week. I'm liking this one. This is the weakest issue so far of the Spider-Geddon saga, but it's still fun. It's nice to see all these Spider-Men work together. Spider-Men, Spider-Women, Spider-whatevers. Really fun, cool seeing all these different characters. They spotlight the Japanese Spider-Man in this one again, the one that had the big robot from the Japanese TV series back in like the 70s or whatever. Love that stuff, like that reference. It's been a fun story. Spider-Man fans, you're gonna like it. One of my favorite things about Spider-Geddon is that it doesn't make it all about like 616 Peter Parker. And I like that. I like that so much. It's one of my favorite things about this book. Spider-Geddon though, I'm still liking it. Not the strongest issue, but it's still fun. Immortal Hulk #8. So at the end of #7, we're like, this is totally taking the turn back into straight up a horror comic, right? Once again, some really interesting, cool things are happening in Immortal Hulk. I'm still kind of on the fence on this one. There's lots of subtext there, lots of things that were revealed to me in the panel-by-panel articles that were written by many people. Really fun stuff there. I like the Carl Jung stuff that's going on in here. I like the Edgar Allan Poe stuff that's going on. And this issue in particular, it's got a very definite comic book horror type vibe, but it's also kind of still being forced to fit in the Marvel universe, and that's the one thing that kind of takes me out of this book. I'm loving Incredible Hulk. I think Al Ewing's doing a great, or Immortal Hulk, I think Al Ewing's doing a great creepy job with it, but it still feels a little too connected to the Marvel universe to really kind of get out there and be the full-on horror comic that it wants to be. That's what I think. Doctor Strange #7 is out. I loved this book when it first started. Mark Waid, I thought he had an interesting take on Doctor Strange. I thought Jesus Marino's artwork, or Jesus Reyes, his artwork was amazing, fantastic stuff. We got a new artist on this one, Javier Pina. Didn't really like the artwork that much, not liking the direction of the story right now. This issue was probably the weakest and least satisfying issue of Doctor Strange by Mark Waid for me. Almost to the point where I don't care what's coming, but I'm going to stick with it for a little bit longer. But right now, I just didn't like this issue of Doctor Strange that much. Let's jump over to Image Comics. Auntie, Agatha's Home for Wayward Rabbits. This is the sleeper hit of the week. This book was really, really fun. Came out of nowhere. It's written by Keith Giffen. Benjamin Roman on the artwork. Really did like this story. It's almost all ages. You might want to read it yourself first, but it's definitely like a good 10-year-old and up type book, I think. Really fun stuff. It's about this girl that works at her aunt's home for wayward rabbits, and it's exactly what it is. The rabbits talk to you. There's this fun mystery going on. The artwork is nice. It's a great, charming book. Really fun. Great script. Funny. Good stuff. Auntie Agatha's Home for Wayward Rabbits. That's not really going to be on a lot of people's radar, but this is a nice book for a very wide range of people. I found it endearing. I found it charming. I found it very fun. Great artwork, a great pace to it, great execution. This is how comic books are supposed to be. Great stuff, and it's a comic book for almost everybody. Really liked it. Home for Wayward Rabbits out this week. Also from Image, we got Outer Darkness #1. This is new from John Layman, co-creator of Chew. This is a Creators of Chew kind of week, right? This book is really, really fun. I do like it. The art is by Afu Chan. Really do like the artwork. This is basically sci-fi horror, right? John Layman has this whole thing in the back where he does this essay, talks about how much he loves sci-fi horror, but he doesn't really think there's a lot of good sci-fi horror out there aside from Event Horizon and Alien. I agree with you, homie. Out of Darkness is an attempt to kind of do that. Between this and a book we're about to talk about, Leviathan, Layman's kind of taking on some biblical themes and ideas and approaching them in a fun comic booky sci-fi type thing. Leviathan, which we're about to get to, is a very fun, flamboyant version of that. Outer Darkness is serious. It's real, really good. Really liked it. I love the artwork. I think the artwork is great. It's got lots of little horror elements into it. Demons, things like that. A great sense of design. A great sense of pace. Outer Darkness was really, really good. I thought it was really fun. Outer Darkness was really cool. We've been talking about Leviathan. This has artwork by Nicholas Patera, right? Yeah, Nick Patera, who was, of course, the co-creator of Manhattan Projects with Jonathan Hickman. Leviathan is fun. The first issue I thought maybe a little too silly. In issue 2, I started understanding a little bit more about it. In 3, some of the themes start resonating with me, but it's still a very fun book. And like I said, just like Outer Darkness, Layman's kind of taking some biblical themes and biblical ideas and little nuggets from the Bible and turning them into these really cool, interesting sci-fi comic book concepts. Both of these books are really interesting and definitely something I would recommend you pick up this week. Bully Wars number 3. Is this 3? Yes, number 3 is out this week from Scotty Young and artist Aaron Conley. Love this book. 3 issues in. It's still great. It's endearing. It's charming. It's a great book almost for everybody. It's got a nice light approach to it, but it definitely is a story that's going to have a lot of heart to it. It's already had a lot of heart in it. Really like it. Very cartoony type style. Very appropriate for the tone of the story. It's about the town that's got the most bullies in the world. The most bullies per capita in the world in this town. They have this thing called the Bully Wars to determine who can be the biggest bully of them all. And one bully is now the new bully. He's the small new kid on the block, right? He's trying to be the big bully, so he gets his bullies to help him figure out how he can win the Bully Wars. Really fun stuff, but it's got a lot of heart to it. It's a nice message. Really charming book, Bully Wars. Dead Rabbit number 2 is here. I thought issue 1 was intriguing enough. Issue 2 was even better. Really liked it. It's basically about a super thief from back in the day coming out of retirement because his wife has been diagnosed with cancer or something like that. Some kind of crazy disease. It's got medical bills. They've got no insurance. He's down on hard times. He's got to come out of retirement. But it seems like after he retired, the mob wasn't so cool with him. He still has people looking after him. Really fun, cool story. It's written by Gary Duggan with artwork by John McCrae of Hitman fame from back in the day. Garth Ennis fans will recognize that name. Dead Rabbit number 2 was better than issue 1. Really, really did enjoy this. This book is shaping up to be something really cool and very, very, very special, possibly. Blackbird number 2 is out this week. Blackbird number 1 I thought was intriguing enough. Issue 2 is intriguing enough, but it doesn't quite grab me. It doesn't quite hook me in. It's got some beautiful artwork by Jen Bartel. A nice script by Sam Humphries, but at times it kind of gets a little jumpy. At times, it's a little hard. It just doesn't quite grab me as much, but I do like it. I do like the characters. I love the characters. I love this whole family thing that's going on in here, but something about the book just feels a little light, a little airy, maybe a little too light and just a little too airy, but ultimately this was pretty much kind of in the same vein of issue number 1, but I did think it kind of wrapped itself up in a little bit more engagement, just a little bit better. But something about this book is not quite appealing to me, but overall I do like the whole package. I love the artwork. I love the characters. I just wish that the story would kind of be a little bit more engaging for me. Farmhand number 5 is out this week. This is the final issue of the first story arc from Rob Guillory, who was the co-creator of Chew, just as John Layman was before. We were talking about him. Rob Guillory has really done something special with Farmhand. He's taken this wacky, crazy idea about this dude who grows body parts for humans, right? He grows them like you would grow a vegetable. He's got this crazy farm where he grows arms and eyeballs and lungs and things like that, right? So it's also a story, though, about a family, because it's a family-owned farm. So it's this nice little touching story about a family, this whole mystery government conspiracy, what is actually going on type thing as well, and just a really cool, fun, crazy comic book only type concept that really makes Farmhand something exceptional. It's not returning until March. It gives you plenty of time to catch up. The first trade is coming out in January, but why wait? You can easily find all 5 issues right now, read it and enjoy it. Really fun, crazy, zany, wacky, off-the-wall type stuff. Crowded number 4 is here from Christopher Sabella. Loving this book right now. Rose Stein on the pencils, Ted Brandt on the inking, Triona Farrell on the coloring, Cardinal Ray on the lettering. This book is super fun. 4 issues in, I'm still enjoying it. It's about a world much like our own where things keep getting more and more crowd-funded. So it's kind of a really fun commentary on like social media and things like that, right? And Twitter and YouTube and Twitch and streaming and things like that. And crowdfunding app and this app culture that we're in. It's really fun, sci-fi type story, but a little bit grounded, but a very fun, brisk pace to it. It utilizes space in comic books like nobody else today. Seriously, Isabella and Stein and Brandt, they're doing an amazing job of keeping everything very compressed, but still very flowy as well. There's a lot of meat in each issue, in fact, in each page of this, but the story still has a very brisk pace to it. It's dynamic, it's high energy, really fun. Crowded number 4, still soaring. The Empty Man number 1 is a new horror comic from Boom Studios and writer Cullen Bunn with really good artwork from Jesus Harvais. Really like this issue. I thought it was pretty cool. My only gripe with this issue, the art is great. It's a nice horror story, so horror fans, you definitely want to check this out. There's this like virus, this plague that's going across humanity. It's called the Empty Man plague. That's a little unclear in the book. So the idea, the tone, the mood, that comes across very well in this very briskly paced and tightly written script by Cullen Bunn. And the artwork is just fantastic. Really cool stuff. Very appropriate. But the idea about what the plague is and what it does and where it comes from is still a little vague, a little unclear. Didn't quite grab me as much as it should have because of that. But I did think The Empty Man number 1 was a pretty decent, solid debut. From Vault Comics, we finally have Fearscape number 2. A lot of us thought it was coming out last week. Something happened. It's actually this week, and it's worth the wait. Fearscape number 2, amazing. Written by Ryan Sullivan with artwork by Andrea Muti and coloring by Vladimir Popov. Fantastic book. This is really cool. It's a challenging book. It challenges you, the reader. It challenges the comic book industry. It challenges the characters in the story. It's fantastic. It's basically about this place called the Fearscape and all the fears of mankind and womankind and all of our kind is there, right? And once in a generation, we have to pick the world's greatest storyteller, and he or she has got to fight this battle for us, right? But at this time, they get the world's greatest plagiarist and not the world's greatest storyteller, but it's really interesting. It takes that idea of the unreliable narrator, takes the idea of dependable structure and narrative in storytelling, especially comic book storytelling, and it turns it on its head, it pokes fun at it, it talks about how pretentious it is, all while doing it at the same time. Really cool, self-referential, almost meta, really cool type stuff. Fearscape number 2 soars, absolutely soars. And finally from Aftershock Comics, let's talk about Moth and Whisper number 3. This book came out of nowhere, really liked it. Written by Ted Anderson with artwork by Jen Hickman, my bad. Jen Hickman's artwork is fantastic. The highlight of the book for me, but it's also just a really fun spy type story. Really cool ideas, great artwork, great beautiful coloring. It's got this like almost monochromatic type thing to it. Really captures tone, really captures pace and energy very, very well through the artwork. Great panel composition as well. Love that cover as well. That harkens back to some old school, like, you know, save for future reference. This is what the Baxter Building looks like. Really fun stuff. Moth and Whisper number 3 out this week. So that's what I read. That's what I thought about it. What are you going to read? What did you read? What did you think about it? What do you want to think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Lots of good stuff out this week. Grant Morrison returning to DC though just took the cake for me. The Green Lantern number 1, my favorite book of the week. But Fearscape, Moth and Whisper, Crowded, lots of good stuff out this week. Tell me what your favorites are and what you love in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video. Please do check us out at popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts and a whole lot more. And don't be shy to go over to patreon.com/PCP and help support this channel and everything we do. If you want more content, check it out. There's more stuff out right now. Comics Revisited coming out this week. Me and Brooks going through some Venom videos. Really fun stuff. Lots of excitement coming in the future, and it's all because of you. So thank you. Thank you so much. Please do like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you already have, do it again. We thank you for everything. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on reading.